Hello, everyone. Welcome to day 11 of our 90 Days of Power Reading Bible. Today's reading is from Numbers 12 to 23. So let's jump right into it. The first thing we see as we start to read chapter 12 is the opposition that Moses faced with his siblings. So Miriam and Aaron rise up against Moses, and the Bible says it is actually because Moses married a Cushite woman. Whatever the issue was, we have no idea, but basically they rose up against Moses and the Lord wasn't having it. So God, because of what happened, summoned them to the tent of meeting for them to come meet with him. And when they met with him, God was very angry. And I want to read what he told Aaron and Miriam. God said to them, that is chapter 12, 6 to 8. And this is what God said to them. He said, "Listen to my words. When there is a prophet among you, I, the Lord, reveal myself to them in visions. I speak to them in dreams. But this is not true for my servant Moses. He is faithful in all my house. With him, I speak face to face, clearly and not in riddles." That word caught my attention because for God to say he doesn't speak to them in riddles, it means that there are times God deliberately speaks to people in riddles. So it's a thing for you not to understand, and not because it's you that is not understanding, it's because God deliberately spoke to you in riddles. Anyway, that's beside the point. Clearly and not in riddles. He sees the form of the Lord. Why then were you not afraid to speak against my servant Moses? Like, God was not having it. God wanted to clear their doubt. Like, I know this, you people spoke against him in the midst of other people and all that. And God called them, like, as in fear no catch you. Like, both of you were talking about him. This is not, God was trying to explain to them that Moses is not ordinary. Forget that maybe Aaron, you are priest and this thing. Because what Aaron and Moses started to say is, do God not also speak through us? Do we not also prophesy? Do we not also see things? And God was trying to tell them that, see, yes, when I speak to people, I speak to them through visions, through dreams. But you see this man Moses, I speak to him face to face. So when it comes to level, you people are not on the same level. And it says that God was so angry, and after God left, Miriam's body became leprous, like she was covered with leprosy. And Aaron begged Moses and was like, please don't let her look like a stillborn child, and please forgive her. And the scripture says Moses went on his knees, face down before God, and begged God and said, God, please heal her. And God said, if her father had spat in her face, which was even a funny description, and God told Moses, say if her father had spat in her face, would she not have to face disgrace for 7 days? That's taken out of the community as unclean. He said, no, yes, I will heal her, but let her go outside of it. Let her suffer that shame. And you can tell clearly from it that it was Miriam that started that, opposition. He said, let her suffer that shame. So Miriam had to be sent out of the community for 7 days before the Israelites could move on. I love that because God fights our battles. When mouths rise against us in judgment, they are condemned. That's my number one insight. Number two is now where Moses sent the spies to go and survey the land. I find this very interesting because here is Moses. God has promised them the land. You can take it. They get there. They have now gotten to the outskirts of the promised land, right? And Moses sends them to go and spy and survey the land. Now you would think that because God has already given them the land, what is the essence of going to survey it? Just take the land God has given you. But it begs an important question. Should there still be human element or our works when God has given us a word? For me, I think yes. Many times we think that just because God has given us a word, we leave everything to him. There is a part of our human responsibility that we're actually supposed to play in the matter. Let me read what Moses told them. to go and do. So Moses sent the spies, and this was what he told them. He told them specific things to check. Moses said, go up through the Negev and on into the hill country. See what the land is like and whether the people who live there are strong or weak, few or many. What kind of land they live in? Is it good or is it bad? What kind of towns do they live in? Are they walled? Are they unwalled or fortified? How is the soil? Is it fertile or poor? Are there trees in it or not? Do your best to bring back some fruits of the land. It was a season for first ripe grapes. So Moses was like, do your best to bring out fruit. Now, I find this particularly important, and I don't want this to be as if I'm coming from those who relocate or people who have to move places, especially because really what the Israelites were doing here is, it was a form of, should I say, japa, living where they were to a better place. Actually, this one was the confirmed better place. God had told them, I'm taking you to a better place. But then they got, before they entered the land, Moses was doing survey. Moses was like, let us test the soil. Look at the people, check their walls. Let us eat their fruit and check whether it is good. Now, God had promised him the land. Many of us, when God has given us word and promises, we do not do research on that which God has given us. We do not do our analysis. We do not check for the comparative analysis. Many of us that God is taking out of the country, let's say, let me use America as an example. America is a big place. So God has said you should go to America. Where in America? If it's Texas in America, where in Texas? Have you done the research before you sell all your things and carry your family there? Has one person gone? Have you gone to go and check, gone on holiday, check out the schools, check out the land, check out the kind of food, check out the way the houses are? Have you researched? But what we do is based on a whim or maybe even prayer, because I believe many people pray. You pack up your family at once and just enter. What happened to surveying, even though God has told us, like, you go, you pray there by yourself, like, God, I take over this, before you even bring your family. And that's what Moses was doing. And I found it extremely beautiful that despite the fact that it was God who had given this word and I said, I'm giving you this land, Moses still ensured that they did a survey. This is the land God is giving us. Now enter. Check what the people are like. Check what the walls are like. Check what the soil is like. Check what their plants are like. What are their trees like? Are their fruits sweet? Yes. Yes. We must do that. I feel it is utmost laziness for us to leave God to spoon feed us after he has put the food and everything in front of us. Like, we're now literally, that's what many of us literally do. We're now waiting for him to still carry that spoon inside the food in front of us and still put it inside our mouth when we are not handicapped. And I really love that. Now, number 3, the spies come back and then 10 of them gave a negative word, 2 gave a positive word. Joshua and Caleb said, we can take the land. 10 said, lie, we were like grasshoppers. These people will kill us. You know the giants that they say used to live. It is here they are living. We saw them. They were like whatever. They will finish us. They will take our children hostage, but be bondage. They will sell them into slavery. They will do all those things. And they said they were not going to enter the land. That no matter what you people do to us, we will not enter the land. We will not do this. And it says that God was angry. Because all night, these people, let me read it from 14:1. And he said, all night, all the members of the community raised their voices and wept aloud. All the Israelites grumbled against Moses and Aaron. And the whole assembly said to them, if only we had died in Egypt or in the wilderness, why did the Lord bring us to this land only to make us fall by the sword? They have not fallen by the sword. These people were literally prophesying all the negative things that would happen to them if they take over the land. Our wives and our children will be taking plunder. Wouldn't it be better for us to go back to Egypt? And they said to each other, we should choose a leader and go back to Egypt. And Moses and Aaron fell including Caleb and the other man who had said that they could take the land, Joshua. And they knelt in front of the people and they tore their clothes, like, people should not do this, let's not sin against God. And the people even wanted to stone them. They said, and they wanted to stone. And it says God's anger rose up against them. And this was what God said. God now came. God now said, how dare these people rebel against me? And because of this thing they have said, I will make sure that they do not enter into that land. In short, I want to destroy them now. They don't want to enter. Let me destroy them. And Moses, see, I'll keep saying this, right? There is nothing like a leader or a head. And when I say leader, I don't just mean like leader in the place of maybe like your office or your boss or your pastor. I mean anyone who plays in God's hierarchy of things, who plays a leadership role on us. But I'm talking of husbands, I'm talking of fathers, I'm talking of patriarchs, I'm talking of, yes, pastors, shepherds, teachers, people who actually have a leadership or a shepherding role over people. There is nothing as powerful as them interceding for the people around them. As God was saying that, and God was angry in his wrath, and I could understand, because I mean, what manner of nonsense. He says that Moses in 14 verses 13 to 16, Moses now said, then the Egyptians will hear about it. By your power you brought these people up from among them, and they will tell the inhabitants of this land about it. They have already heard that you, Lord, are with these people, and that you, Lord, have been seen face to face, that your clouds stays over them, and that you go before them in a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. Moses is telling him that, see, this is not even really about these people now. I understand that you are angry, but now there have been people who have witnessed you physically walk with these people. These people around here, they are seeing this cloud and they've been seeing the fire. And he's saying, if you put these people to death, leaving none of them alive, the nations who have heard this report will say, the Lord was not able to bring these people into the land he promised them as an oath, so he slaughtered them in the wilderness. You see what Moses did here? Moses is telling God that these people will not understand. They will never understand that maybe it's because these people are frustrating you or they've angered you. They will say it's because you did not have power. They will say it's because you brought these people out from Egypt. You now got to the land. You could not now provide it. So instead of you providing it, you now could kill them. God now said, you know what? I'm still angry. I need to punish them. So this is what I will do. God now told Moses, he said, you tell them this. And this was what changed everything. This was where everything started from. He said, so tell them, as surely as I live, declares the Lord, I will do to you the very thing you have said. And what is the very thing they said? They said they cannot take the land. They said if they go there, they will die. And he said, I will do to you the very thing you have said. Why we must be very careful of our words. In this wilderness, your bodies will fall. Every one of you, 20 years or more, who was counted in the census and who has grumbled against me. Not one of you will enter the land I swore with uplifted hand to make your own, except Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, and Joshua, son of Nun. As for your children that you said would be taking plunder, I will bring them in to enjoy the land you have rejected. But as for you, your bodies will fall in this wilderness. Your children will be shepherds here for 40 years, suffering for your unfaithfulness until the last of your bodies lie in the wilderness. For 40 years, 1 year for each of the 40 days explored in the land. You know, they went and explored that land for 40 days, the spies. God now said, for every day you people went spying on that land, I will make it 1 year for you people wandering in the wilderness. You will suffer for your sins and know what it is like to have me against you. I, the Lord, have spoken, and I will surely do these things to this old wicked community which has banded against me. They will meet their end in the wilderness. Here they shall die. That was tough. That was tough. And two things I want to say to this. Number one, we must be very careful of the people who have our ears and what we listen to at the brink of breakthrough. 10 people came and gave a negative report, whereas there was already a standing ordinance and promise of God concerning that land. So the negative, it didn't matter. See, even if they are gone there and they are seeing crocodile, they are seeing flying lion, God had said it. God knows how we deal with it. It doesn't matter what they saw there. Be very careful. So because of 10 men, a generation became fearful and disobedient and lost their inheritance because of the report of 10 men. And let me tell you why this is very painful. You know that whenever we talk about the children of Israel, that they wandered in the wilderness for 40 years, that it took the children of Israel 40 years to get to the promised land. That is wrong. It did not take the children of Israel 40 years to get to the promised land. It took them 1 year to get to the promised land. But it took them 40 years to enter. There was a difference. From when they left Egypt to where they are now, took them about a year. The children of Israel literally got to the outskirts of Canaan, the promised land, within a year. And because of this very incident, see, it's almost like you are at the gate, you're about to enter. Something now happened, you now turn back. This was where their rigmarolling started from. After this very thing, God told them to turn back. You don't want to, it's fine. You people should turn. And that was how the rigmarolling started for 40 years that they started wandering. They literally got to the doorpost of that promised land flowing with milk and honey. They agreed though, that true, even the ones who gave the negative report, they agreed that true, this land is flowing with milk and honey, but we cannot take it. And God is like, of course, you cannot take it. You have said you won't enter, so I honor your word. I honor what you guys have said. I will ensure that the last of you die and that your children will suffer the consequences of what you have done. We see how we must be careful of what we're allowing our children to suffer. Many of us are still suffering the consequences of what mistakes and things that our parents made. That I will make sure your children will be shepherds in this desert. They will enter, I promise that they will enter, but you, until the last of you dies. So imagine if the youngest person, because the Bible said to anybody 20 years and above. So imagine if there was a 20-year-old man at that time. It means that there were people, for God to fulfill that word, people literally would have died in their 60s. Because God said 40 years, all of you will die. So that generation were wiped out because of a negative report that 10 men gave. So of course, God struck down the 10 men for what they had done. God struck them down, and God said that of course he wasn't going to have it. And then the very next day, the Israelites woke up and said, when they saw that God had struck down the 10 men, they now decided, you know what, we are going to go and take the land. We have seen should I even say we have seen our fault, but they now decided that we want to go and take the land. Moses said, you people should not do it again. God has changed his mind. God has already said that we should turn back, which God told Moses. But the people insisted. At this point, I know that all through while I've been reading the story of the Israelites, I really try to, I seek God's grace and mercy. And many times I tried in my reading to cut the Israelites some slack, because I'm like, these are people who have been in Egypt for 430 years, enslaved for 400 of those years. And there was a reshaping of their mindset that really had to happen. There was a lot and all that. But there was a stiff-neckedness, as God puts it, about them that was very, very annoying and seemingly weird. At this point, even me myself did vex. Moses said, God has told us to go back. They said, no, now we want to take the land. Yesterday, they wanted to stone Moses. Today, they said they want to take the land. Moses is like, God is not with us. You people should not go. They decided we were going to go. They went and they waged war with the Amalekites and Canaanites. The Bible said that the Canaanites woes them, like they beat and defeated them. You know the kind of beating that they are beating you and pursuing. They are pursuing you and beating you and going like that. He said, the Bible said they defeated them all the way to, what's the name of the place? All the way, is it Abiram or something like that? Like they defeated them. And then that one ended. After that one ended, 3 young men now rose up and said that they actually were tired of Moses and Aaron. So this actually is my 4th insight. So Korah, Dathan, and Abiram, along with 250 men, rose up. They were Levites, rose up and said that who made Moses head over them? That look at what they are done. Who made you Lord over us? Something. You are just doing as if you are the leader. Why did you put Aaron? They be like saying a family matter. This thing. And Moses said, Moses was so angry. So Moses summoned 2 of the men to come. They refused to come. Let's not forget that at this point, it was certain that God had literally made Moses head of these people. Moses was literally like their president. But the Bible even still described Moses in this, chapter. He said, in chapter 12, he said, Moses was a humble and meek man of all the men. That's what the Bible said. In Numbers 12, I think it must have been verses 2 or so, or 3. Of all the men in the old world, in the old earth, Moses was the meekest. The only other person that has been called meek in the Bible was Jesus Christ. So Moses was humble. But it said that Moses was angry, and Moses told God that when these guys come to give their sacrifice, God, don't their offering, God, don't take it. And also, God was already angry. So when Moses now told them, we will gather together and see who God will pick. Let us gather, since you are saying that God didn't choose me. We will gather and God will pick the person that He has said is leading all of us. So they gathered. As they gathered, God told Moses and Aaron, He said, guys, you put your shift. I want to do something. Shift first. Let me show you something. Moses and Aaron immediately again fell down. God, I beg. God, please. God, don't deal with these people like this. God, please. And then God now said, okay, no problem. But tell everybody in the camp, in the community, in this place that we have gathered, that everybody should move away from the tent of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. That I want to. So everybody shifted their tents away from them. And God now opened the ground and swallowed both them, their tents, their family, their wives, and swallowed them up. And then the 250 men that joined alongside them, He said fire came and burnt them to ashes. Fire came and burned them to ashes. And that is how God dealt with that. The very next day, you see, these Israelites were I they look them, I'm like, even goats not stubborn like this. As in, on a serious note. The very next day after that happened, they started grumbling again. What were they saying? That Moses killed people. Is it Moses that opened ground to swallow them? No. Is it Moses that sent fire to kill the guys who were planning mutiny? No. But they said that Moses has killed all of them. So of course, Aaron and Moses again knelt down again and started begging God, because they knew what was about to happen. God was vexed. And Moses now told Aaron, he said, oh yeah, fast, take a censer. That's what they used to burn the incense. He said, take fire from the altar and start running to the place of gathering quick to go and give an atonement for these people that don't even know what is coming for them, because the plague has started. And it says that Aaron quickly ran with the fire, ran to the place of gathering to go and give atonement. He said, but the plague has started, and 14,700 people died because of this. Died because of disobedience again. This reading today was full for me. I was just seeing a lot of things, and I was just like, gosh, how disobedient and how stubborn do people have to be? And I'm looking at it, and it's easy for one to point fingers, but literally, this is us. This is us. This is what we are doing. Many of us are perpetually in a place of obedience that even God has left us, and we think that maybe because we're not having issues, we're not having trouble in our life, everything is rosy, but God has literally just left us to our devices. So then, of course, argument started again after that incident. So it's like they are so short, they have such short memory. Arguments have started again. And of course, God now told Moses, he said, you know what? He said, let me put an end to this permanently, so that they will know that the person I've chosen to be priest is Aaron. Let me do it permanently. So God told them, pick leaders from each of your tribes, let them come with their rod, and let them bring it before me. And whoever's rod I choose, you will know that that is the person I've decided to be priest over you. So all of them chose leaders from each tribe and brought it. And by the next morning, Aaron's rod budded. Like rods, you know that the rods are actually dried wood, like gone, like dry, like furniture wood. Yes. So there is no wetness, there is no amount of water you can pour in it that will actually make anything grow on it or branches start coming out. But the Bible says that the very next day, Aaron's rod budded. Not only did it bud, like bring out small plants, it blossomed. The plants that came out from it not only blossomed, brought out fruit. And that was the evidence that God was showing them that they had actually what do you call it now? He had actually chosen. Yes, that was the evidence that God was showing that he had actually chosen Aaron. And that is such beautiful testament of all what God did. And the last part or insight that I would like to talk about was now the people grumbled again. And this grumbling was very fatal because it brought about, should I say, the devastating consequence for both Moses and Aaron. They grumbled that there was no water. There was no water. But the way they went about all their grumbling was just so irritating. If there is no water, you go to your leader and say, Oga Moses, there is no water. Please provide water for us. But no, they always ended everything with quarrel and grumbling and irritation. They were just acting like uncivilized people. They really could have just gone to Moses for every single thing they complained or grumbled about and said, we do not have this. Seek the Lord or implore the Lord and let him provide. But they grumbled. And of course, Moses went to God. God, what is this? Angry and all that. And God said, go to the rock, speak to the rock, and to bring forth, water. So Moses went to the rock. But instead of speaking to the rock as the Lord said, Moses struck the rock 2 times. And water gushed out from it, of course. But the scripture says that God was angry with Moses and Aaron, and he said that it actually showed that Moses and Aaron did not trust him enough to show in front of the Israelites. As in, God felt it was disrespectful to him. This is what I said you should do, but you didn't trust the word I've given you enough, and you did your own. And God said that both of them were not going to enter into the promised land. And just short chapters after that, God called Aaron and said, Aaron, it is time for you to die. And he told him the reason why. He said, because you and Moses disobeyed me when I asked you to speak to the rock. And this was deep for me, because Aaron was not the one who struck the rock. And I don't know, that part kind of really, it touched me and it hurt me, because It's time to highlight how in this journey called life, we would suffer consequences with people we attach ourselves to. And no, Moses was not a bad person, neither was Aaron. But it just shows that many times in our journey through life, we would suffer the consequences of the people we have attached our lives to. Spouses will suffer the consequence of what a spouse does. The wife will suffer the consequences of and the act of actions or inactions that her husband takes. Children will suffer the consequences of actions or inactions that their parents take. It is deep and it will hurt. And sometimes you will suffer shame, and sometimes it will lead to their own death. Moses struck the rock, not Aaron, but they both suffered the consequences. Because I really don't know how Aaron could have stopped Moses. Like, is it that he would jump in front of it? Oh, no, I don't really know. I don't even know if Aaron was expecting Moses to, like, for someone striking the rock would have struck it unannounced. It wasn't like Moses was like, Aaron, see, I want to strike the rock now. I want to strike the rock. But I thought about it, and I was like, God called him and said, you know what, it is time, pass the baton to your son, come up the mountain, and took off his robes, gave it to, his son, and then he died on the mountain. And that was the end. That was the, should I say, beautiful or sad, bittersweet end for, Aaron. But for Moses, he also wasn't going to enter the promised land. Moses had walked with these people, had walked with God, had done beautiful things, had interceded for these people. But for one single act of disobedience, he lost the opportunity to be able to enter into the promised land as well. And that is where I'm going to end the insights for today. It really was a beautiful collection of chapters. There were a lot of action in it. And tomorrow, we'll go into the story of Balak and Balaam. It started in this reading today, but I would want us to cover it tomorrow because it continues tomorrow. Because it's it's something that I actually would want to touch on extensively as well. So we would see the story of Balak, who was the king and called a sorcerer called Balaam to come curse Israel for him because he was terrified of them. And we'll see how that story goes and how God prevailed on the matter, or were the Israelites able to save themselves. See you again tomorrow. Bye.